Officers assaulted black woman outside police station. Careers ended when she said, "I'm your chief." She had come there not because she wanted trouble, but because she had an important matter to discuss. In her mind, it was a routine visit, something that happened every day. People walked in and out of the station all the time, going about their business. She expected nothing more than a few questions, some paperwork, and a resolution to her concerns. What she did not expect was that this routine trip would turn into a moment that would change lives and shake the local community. The woman had always believed in law, order, and fairness. She respected the police and the work they did, but she also understood that power must be handled responsibly. As she approached the entrance, she noticed two officers standing outside. They were in uniform, appearing official and authoritative. From the very first glance, there was something in the air, a tension that was hard to ignore. Perhaps it was her imagination, but she sensed that something was about to go wrong. Still, she moved forward calmly, keeping her head high and her heart steady. She knew her rights and she knew her responsibilities. She had faced challenges before and had always met them with courage. Today would be no different. The officers noticed her immediately. Their expressions shifted, moving from neutral to something harsher. It was subtle at first, a slight frown, a tightened jaw, but it became clear that they were taking a particular interest in her. She stopped a few steps away from them, giving herself space and keeping her hands visible, the universal sign of openness and non-threat. But the officers stepped forward aggressively, their approach more forceful than necessary. They began asking questions in a sharp tone, demanding explanations for her presence. Their voices were loud, and the way they moved was intimidating. People passing by on the street began to notice the interaction. Some slowed down, curious but unsure if they should intervene. Others pulled out their phones, instinctively recording what was happening. The woman did not flinch. She did not shout. She did not try to run. Instead, she spoke calmly, her voice clear and steady, as if she were grounding herself in the truth of her authority and her right to be there. She explained why she was at the station, answering the questions they asked without raising her voice. She maintained eye contact, showing that she would not be intimidated by their aggressive behavior. Yet, despite her composure, the officers did not seem satisfied. Their questions became sharper, their tone colder. They moved closer, trying to assert dominance, but she remained unyielding. Her body language was confident. She stood tall, hands still visible, showing that she was not afraid but also not a threat. Bystanders began to gather, sensing that something unusual was happening. Some whispered among themselves, wondering why the officers were treating a visitor in such a confrontational manner. Others watched silently, capturing every detail on their phones. The woman noticed them, but she did not allow their presence to distract her. She understood that this moment was bigger than just a personal encounter. It was a test of patience, courage, and truth, and she was determined to pass it. Then, in a moment that changed the entire scene, she spoke words that would echo far beyond the steps of that police station. Calmly, firmly, she said, "I'm your chief." The statement was simple, yet it carried immense power. It was not shouted or proclaimed with anger. It was spoken with authority, the kind of authority that commands respect without demanding it. The words stunned the officers. For a moment, they froze, unsure how to respond. People around them gasped quietly, realizing the significance of what had just been said. The woman's role in law enforcement or local government suddenly made sense of the unusual tension. They had not recognized her authority immediately, and it had led to a confrontation that should never have happened. The officers' reaction shifted rapidly. Some tried to cover their surprise, straightening their uniforms, adjusting their posture as if to regain control. But the damage was done. Their aggression, which had seemed justified in their own minds, now appeared reckless and improper. Witnesses could see clearly that they had overstepped, and the woman's calm assertion of authority highlighted just how unnecessary their behavior had been. The incident, which had begun as a routine interaction, had become a public display of power dynamics, bias, and the importance of respect. As the situation unfolded, other officers inside the station began to notice the commotion. They emerged to see what was happening, adding to the crowd of witnesses. People on the street, too, paused in their activities, watching the events unfold. Phones were raised, recording every moment. Social media would later buzz with clips of the encounter. But at that very instant, the The scene was alive with tension, curiosity, and an unspoken recognition that something significant was occurring. The woman's calm demeanor, combined with the shocking reality of her position, left a lasting impression on everyone present. The woman took a slow, deliberate step back, maintaining her composure. She did not attempt to escalate the situation, but she also refused to allow the officer's aggressive approach to go unchallenged. Her courage was not loud or dramatic. It was quiet, measured, and deeply compelling. She understood that true authority does not come from force or intimidation. It comes from knowledge, integrity, and the ability to stand firm in the face of adversity. By simply speaking her truth, she had shifted the balance of power in that moment. Witnesses later described the scene as surreal. Many admitted that they had initially assumed the woman was a victim simply because of the way the officers approached her. But when she revealed her position, the reality of the situation became clear. It was no longer just about an individual confrontation. It was about accountability, recognition, and the importance of respecting those who hold responsibility. The clarity of her voice, the steadiness of her stance, and the undeniable truth of her identity transformed a tense encounter into a lesson in dignity and courage. As the immediate confrontation began to wind down, the woman took a moment to gather herself. She had remained composed throughout, but the tension had been palpable. The officers retreated slightly, their demeanor changed, realizing that their actions had been inappropriate. Bystanders whispered among themselves, some offering quiet words of support, others simply staring in disbelief. The moment had captured the attention of everyone present, and it would not be forgotten. The woman's actions demonstrated that standing up for oneself, even in the face of authority, could change the course of events in a powerful and lasting way. By the time she entered the station, the air had shifted. What could have been a frightening or humiliating encounter had instead become an example of courage, poise, and the power of truth. The woman's calm, confident assertion of authority had not only protected her, but had also revealed the shortcomings of those who had initially tried to intimidate her. It was a lesson in respect, responsibility, and the importance of never underestimating the power of knowledge and integrity. This incident, although brief in duration, would later be remembered by those who witnessed it as a turning point. It would spark conversations, media coverage, and discussions about accountability and the proper use of authority. But in that moment, it was simply about a woman who knew her rights, understood her role, and had the courage to speak the truth. And sometimes, speaking the truth is the most powerful thing a person can do. News of the incident spread quickly. What had started as a tense moment outside a police station became something much larger almost immediately. Someone who had been standing nearby recorded the encounter on their phone. The video showed the woman approaching the officers calmly, explaining her purpose, and then asserting her authority with the words, "I'm your chief." Her calmness and confidence in the face of aggression captured the attention of everyone who watched the clip. Within hours, the video was shared online, across social media platforms, and even on local news pages. People couldn't stop talking about it. It was clear to everyone who saw the video that the woman had handled herself with remarkable composure and courage. The response online was immediate. People expressed outrage at the officer's behavior, describing it as unnecessary and intimidating. Many commented on the courage it must have taken for the woman to remain calm while being confronted in such a way. They admired her confidence and her ability to stand her ground. Others highlighted the fact that the officers had not recognized her authority initially, leading to a confrontation that could have been completely avoided. The video spread not only locally but across the country, as more people shared it and discussed the incident. The story quickly became a symbol of the importance of respect, accountability, and equality. As the video gained attention, community members began speaking out. Local activists and advocacy groups organized discussions about what had happened. They held meetings in community centers, churches, and public spaces, encouraging people to share their thoughts and feelings. Many were angry, feeling that this type of behavior should never happen to anyone, especially someone who was simply doing their job or fulfilling an official role. They stressed that this incident highlighted a larger problem, how power can sometimes be misused, and how important it is to treat every individual with respect. The woman's calm response became a focal point for these discussions, showing that courage and dignity can make a powerful statement even in difficult situations. Local news stations quickly picked up the story. Reporters interviewed witnesses, neighbors, and experts on law enforcement practices. They analyzed the video, pointing out how the officer's actions were aggressive and unnecessary. They also highlighted the woman's composure and her ability to assert her authority calmly, without resorting to anger or confrontation. News anchors discussed how this incident reflected broader societal issues, including racial bias and the importance of accountability within law enforcement. People watching at home were shocked, but many were also inspired by the woman's actions. Her bravery sparked conversations in households across the community, with families discussing how standing up for what is right is not always easy, but it is always important. The woman herself became a topic of interest. Reporters, social media users, and community members were curious about her background and the role she held. They wanted to understand how someone could face intimidation and remain so composed. It became clear that her position gave her the authority to speak with confidence, but it was her courage and knowledge of the situation that truly made a difference. People admired her for handling a challenging encounter with professionalism and dignity. Her story became an example of how one person can inspire change, simply by standing firm and speaking the truth. The public response continued to grow. Social media users created hashtags and shared messages of support. Many people expressed frustration at the officer's behavior, stating that such actions should never be tolerated. Others praised the woman for showing that respect must be earned through fairness, knowledge, and integrity, not through fear or intimidation. The conversation also included discussions about accountability in law enforcement, the importance of recognizing authority, and the need for proper training. The incident became more than a local story. It became a nationwide conversation about fairness, courage, and the importance of standing up for one's rights. Community leaders also got involved. Local politicians and public officials issued statements about the incident. They emphasized that everyone deserves to be treated with respect, regardless of the circumstances. Some called for a thorough investigation into the officer's behavior, stressing that public trust in law enforcement depends on accountability. Community leaders also praised the woman for her courage and her calm handling of the situation. They described her as a role model, someone who demonstrated that facing difficult situations with dignity and composure can inspire others and create meaningful change. As the story gained traction, the discussion reached beyond the local community. People from other cities and states expressed solidarity, sharing similar stories from their own experiences. Social media became filled with messages of support, encouragement, and calls for change. Many people noted that the video showed the importance of staying calm and focused, even in the face of aggression. The woman's actions became a teaching moment, showing that courage is not always loud or forceful. Sometimes it is quiet, steady, and firm. The officers involved faced increasing scrutiny as the story spread. People demanded answers about why the confrontation had happened in the first place. Experts in law enforcement training discussed the situation on television and online platforms, pointing out that proper recognition of authority and professional conduct are essential in every interaction. They emphasized that incidents like this can damage public trust, and that steps must be taken to prevent similar situations in the future. The officer's actions were analyzed in detail, with many experts agreeing that the situation could have been handled differently, with respect and professionalism. The woman herself continued her work, but she became a symbol for many in her community. People admired her not only for what she said, but also for how she said it. Her calmness, confidence, and dignity in the face of aggression inspired others to consider how they might handle challenging situations in their own lives. She became a reference point in discussions about authority, respect, and courage. Many people commented that her actions reminded them that it is possible to face difficulties without resorting to anger or confrontation, and that sometimes, simply knowing your rights and standing firm is the most powerful response. Social media continued to play a key role in the story. Videos of the encounter were shared widely, and people added captions and commentary praising the woman's courage. Online communities discussed the incident at length, analyzing what had happened and considering what lessons could be learned. People highlighted how the incident revealed issues of bias, the misuse of authority, and the need for accountability in all situations. The conversation was constructive and reflective, with many people using the story as a starting point to discuss ways to improve interactions between law enforcement and the public. The reaction from the general public was both emotional and thoughtful. Many people expressed anger at the officer's initial behavior, but they also expressed admiration for the woman's response. Parents talked to their children about the importance of standing up for what is right. Teachers used the story to discuss courage, respect, and fairness in their classrooms. Community organizations held meetings and events to reflect on the incident and encourage positive action. The story had become more than a viral video. It was now a tool for education and empowerment, showing how one person's actions can spark meaningful conversation and change. Throughout this time, the woman remained humble. She did not seek attention or praise for what had happened. Instead, she focused on her work and her responsibilities. But the impact of the incident was undeniable. Her courage and calmness in a tense situation inspired others to speak out about issues of fairness, respect, and authority. People realized that one person, standing firm in truth and integrity, can make a difference not only in their own life, but in the lives of many others. In the days and weeks that followed, the story continued to develop. Local and national media covered the situation extensively, analyzing the implications and the lessons to be learned. Discussions about accountability, professional conduct, and the proper recognition of authority became widespread. Community members reflected on how such incidents can affect trust in public institutions, and many called for reforms to ensure that everyone is treated fairly and respectfully. The woman's calm assertion of authority, combined with her composed demeanor, became a symbol of courage and integrity. Her story was shared in schools, workplaces, and community centers, inspiring people to stand up for themselves and others. It reminded everyone that courage is not always about confrontation. Sometimes it is about knowing your rights, staying calm, and speaking the truth with confidence. By the end of this phase, the incident had transformed from a local confrontation into a movement of awareness and reflection. People recognized that this was not just about one encounter outside a police station. It was about how society treats authority, respect, and fairness. The woman's actions had sparked a conversation that would continue for months and even years, encouraging accountability and inspiring courage in communities across the country. The story of the woman who stood her ground became more than a headline. It became a lesson in integrity, professionalism, and the power of calm, firm courage. Her actions reminded everyone that every individual deserves respect, and that standing up for oneself with dignity can create a ripple effect, inspiring change far beyond the moment itself. After the video of the incident went viral, the attention it received was not limited to social media. Local authorities quickly realized that this situation could not be ignored. The woman's calm and composed assertion of authority had highlighted the officer's inappropriate behavior in a way that was undeniable. The community's outrage and the widespread public attention made it clear that action was required. The police department could not simply let the matter fade into obscurity. An internal investigation was launched to review exactly what had happened and to determine whether the officers had followed proper procedure. The investigation began with a thorough review of the available evidence. The video captured by a bystander was one of the most critical pieces of proof. It clearly showed the woman approaching the officers, calmly explaining her presence and asserting her authority by saying, "I'm your chief." The officers' aggressive behavior, their failure to recognize her position, and the way they attempted to intimidate her were all visible. In the footage, investigators compared this evidence with the officers' statements to determine if there were any inconsistencies. It quickly became clear that the officers' accounts did not match the reality captured on video. Witnesses were interviewed to provide additional context. People who had been near the station during the incident described what they had seen. Many of them had recorded the encounter on their phones, and these videos were collected as part of the investigation. Witnesses emphasized the woman's calm demeanor and the officers' unnecessarily aggressive approach. They described feeling shocked and concerned for her safety, noting that she had remained composed and professional even under pressure. Investigators recognized that these accounts were consistent with the video footage and confirmed that the officer's behavior had been improper. The woman herself was also interviewed. She described her experience in detail, explaining what had happened from the moment she approached the station. She emphasized that she had remained calm and professional throughout the encounter, and that she had simply been doing her job and fulfilling her responsibilities. Her account was consistent with the video evidence and the witness statements. Investigators were impressed by her composure and her ability to handle a tense situation with dignity. Her testimony added clarity to the investigation and reinforced the public's understanding of the events. As the investigation continued, discussions about accountability became central. Police officials recognized that their department's reputation depended on taking the matter seriously. Leaders emphasized the importance of addressing the officer's actions fairly and transparently. They also understood that the public's trust could be strengthened by demonstrating that inappropriate behavior would not be tolerated, regardless of an officer's rank or experience. The investigation became not only a review of a single incident, but also a reflection on the importance of professional conduct and ethical responsibility within law enforcement. During the investigation, experts in law enforcement training were consulted. They reviewed the video and the officer's conduct, offering insight into how the situation should have been handled. They noted that proper recognition of authority is fundamental to maintaining order and respect in interactions between officers and the public. They also pointed out that aggressive behavior, especially when unnecessary, can escalate situations and damage public trust. Their analysis highlighted the significance of the woman's calm and authoritative approach, showing how professionalism and knowledge can prevent conflicts from spiraling out of control. The officers involved were placed on administrative leave while the investigation was ongoing. This decision was made to ensure that the inquiry could proceed without interference and to demonstrate that the department was taking the matter seriously. During this period, the officers were prohibited from performing their usual duties. They were informed that their behavior was under review and that disciplinary action could follow depending on the findings. The administrative leave served as a clear message that accountability was a priority and that misconduct would not be ignored. As evidence continued to accumulate, it became clear that the officers' actions had violated department policies. Their failure to recognize the woman's authority, their aggressive approach, and their attempt to intimidate her all contributed to a serious breach of professional standards. Investigators recommended disciplinary hearings to review the officer's conduct and determine appropriate consequences. The goal was not only to address this specific incident, but also to ensure that similar situations would be handled differently in the future. The disciplinary hearings were conducted with transparency. Department leaders, legal advisors, and community representatives participated in the process. The officers were given the opportunity to explain their actions, and the woman's testimony was presented. Witness statements and video evidence were carefully reviewed. The proceedings were thorough and deliberate, ensuring that all perspectives were considered. The goal was to reach a fair and just decision based on the facts and the standards expected of law enforcement professionals. During the hearings, the impact of the officer's behavior on the community was also considered. Public trust in law enforcement is fragile and can be damaged by incidents of misconduct. Community leaders emphasized that accountability is essential for maintaining confidence in the police. They expressed support for the woman, praising her courage and professionalism. The hearings served as an opportunity not only to review the officer's actions, but also to demonstrate the department's commitment to fairness, transparency, and ethical responsibility. The outcome of the hearings was significant. After careful consideration of all evidence, the officers were found to have violated department policies and professional standards. Their actions were deemed inappropriate and unacceptable. As a result, they faced disciplinary measures, including termination of employment. This decision sent a powerful message about the importance of accountability and the consequences of misconduct. It reinforced the idea that no one is above the rules and that professionalism must be maintained in every interaction. The woman's role in the investigation was also recognized publicly. She was praised for handling a challenging situation with composure, dignity, and authority. Her actions were highlighted as an example of how professionalism and knowledge can prevent conflicts and inspire positive change. The media covered the outcome extensively, emphasizing both the officers' accountability and the woman's courage. People across the community celebrated her as a role model and a symbol of integrity. The investigation and its results also prompted broader discussions within the police department. Leaders emphasized the need for ongoing training and education to prevent similar incidents in the future. They focused on improving communication skills, recognizing authority, and handling tense situations calmly and professionally. The goal was to ensure that officers understood the importance of their behavior and the impact it can have on public trust. The woman's example became part of training programs, demonstrating how knowledge, composure, and respect can influence outcomes positively. Community response to the investigation and its results was overwhelmingly supportive. People expressed relief that the situation had been addressed fairly and that the officers had been held accountable. Many praised the transparency of the process and the department's willingness to take responsibility. The woman received letters of appreciation, messages of support, and invitations to speak about her experience. Her actions had sparked not only accountability but also inspiration, showing that standing firm in the face of adversity can create meaningful change. As time passed, the story continued to influence discussions about law enforcement practices. Local leaders, educators, and community organizations used the incident as a case study to teach lessons about professionalism, authority, and accountability. People reflected on the importance of calm, composed action, and the ways in which standing up for what is right can have lasting effects. The woman's example encouraged others to face challenges with courage and dignity, emphasizing that integrity and knowledge are powerful tools in every aspect of life. The officers' careers ended, but the lessons learned from the incident extended far beyond the individuals involved. The community recognized the importance of transparency, accountability, and proper conduct in law enforcement. The incident sparked improvements in training, communication, and professional standards, ensuring that future interactions would be handled more appropriately. The woman's courage and composure became a lasting reminder of the power of standing firm in truth and acting with integrity, even in challenging situations. By the end of this period, the investigation and its consequences had transformed the incident from a troubling confrontation into a story of accountability, courage, and positive change. The officers' actions had been addressed, the community's concerns had been acknowledged, and lessons had been learned. The woman's example continued to inspire others, showing that professionalism, knowledge, and calm courage can create meaningful impact and foster trust within the community. After the investigation concluded and the officers faced consequences for their actions, the community began to reflect deeply on what had happened. The incident outside the police station was no longer just a local event or a viral video. It had become a symbol of courage, integrity, and the importance of accountability. People in the community spoke often about the woman who had remained calm and professional while asserting her authority, and her story inspired countless discussions about fairness, respect, and responsibility. Her ability to handle such a tense situation with dignity left a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed it, and her example continued to resonate long after the immediate events had passed. The woman returned to her professional life, continuing her duties with the same dedication and commitment she had always shown. Despite the intense public attention, she remained humble and focused on her responsibilities. She did not seek personal recognition or praise for what had happened. Instead, she concentrated on doing her job well, ensuring that her work served the community effectively. Yet people continued to acknowledge her courage and professionalism, often reaching out to express gratitude, admiration, and support. Her actions had created a ripple effect that extended far beyond the steps of that police station. Community leaders also took the incident as a learning opportunity. Meetings were held to discuss the lessons that could be drawn from what had happened. Leaders emphasized the importance of respecting authority, recognizing professionalism, and treating every individual with dignity. They spoke about how calm, composed responses in difficult situations could prevent conflicts from escalating and could inspire others to act with integrity. The woman's example became a reference point in these discussions, demonstrating how courage and knowledge can have a powerful and positive impact. The local police department implemented new policies and training programs as a result of the incident. Officers received additional guidance on recognizing authority, communicating effectively, and maintaining professionalism in all situations. Emphasis was placed on de-escalation techniques and understanding the importance of respect in every interaction. These changes were designed to prevent similar incidents in the future and to strengthen the relationship between law enforcement and the community. The department's response reflected a commitment to learning from the past and improving for the future. Educational institutions also incorporated the story into their programs. Schools used the incident as a case study to teach lessons about respect, authority, and integrity. Students were encouraged to discuss how one person's calm and confident actions could influence others and lead to positive change. Teachers highlighted the woman's courage and professionalism, showing that standing firm in truth and knowledge is a powerful way to address challenges. Classrooms became spaces where students could learn about fairness, accountability, and the importance of acting with dignity, using this real-life example to inspire reflection and discussion. The media continued to follow the story, providing updates on the aftermath and the impact it had on the community. Articles, interviews, and news segments emphasized the lessons learned from the incident and the changes that had been implemented in the police department. Journalists highlighted the woman's courage and composure, showing how her actions had influenced both the officers involved and the wider community. The story remained relevant not only as a record of a specific event, but also as a teaching tool for professional conduct, integrity, and accountability. Social media users continued to discuss the incident and its significance. People shared messages about the importance of standing up for what is right, remaining calm in challenging situations, and respecting authority while also expecting respect in return. The story sparked conversations about fairness, courage, and ethical behavior, both online and offline. Users highlighted how the woman's approach demonstrated that one person could make a meaningful difference, encouraging others to act with integrity in their own lives. Many members of the community found personal inspiration in the woman's story. Individuals who had experienced intimidation or unfair treatment reflected on how they might respond differently in the future. People learned that remaining composed, knowledgeable, and confident can change the course of an encounter, even in stressful situations. Her example became a source of motivation, reminding people that courage is not always about confrontation. Sometimes it is about standing firm with dignity and knowledge. The woman's influence extended beyond her immediate community. People from other cities and regions learned about the incident and shared similar stories from their own experiences. Discussions about professionalism, respect, and accountability spread widely, creating a broader conversation about how society addresses authority and fairness. Her actions demonstrated that courage and composure can have a lasting impact, inspiring positive change in multiple communities. As time passed, the story became a part of local history. Community events occasionally referenced the incident to highlight the importance of accountability and ethical behavior. Leaders, educators, and organizations used the example to encourage discussions about professional conduct, personal courage, and the value of treating everyone with respect. The woman's actions were remembered not only for the immediate impact they had, but also for the long-term lessons they provided. The woman herself continued to lead by example in her professional and personal life. She focused on mentorship, guidance, and supporting others who might face challenging situations. People looked up to her as a role model, admiring her ability to handle adversity with calm and dignity. Her story became a testament to the idea that integrity, knowledge, and courage can influence both individuals and communities positively. Community members often reflected on the broader implications of the incident. They discussed how society can learn from moments like these to improve systems, foster trust, and encourage ethical behavior. The incident served as a reminder that accountability and respect are fundamental in every interaction, especially those involving authority and responsibility. Conversations about fairness, professional conduct, and courage became part of the community's ongoing dialogue, ensuring that the lessons from the incident continued to shape behavior and decision-making. The officers' careers ended, but the consequences of their actions extended beyond their personal situations. The changes implemented in response to the incident improved the department's overall professionalism and strengthened public trust. Training programs, policies, and community engagement initiatives reflected the lessons learned, ensuring that future interactions would be handled more appropriately. The woman's example provided a framework for these improvements, showing how courage, knowledge, and calm professionalism can create positive outcomes even in difficult situations. Her story also inspired other individuals in leadership roles. People in positions of authority reflected on how they could handle challenges with composure and integrity. The idea that one person could influence the behavior of others, change the course of events, and create lasting impact became a key takeaway. Leaders in various fields learned from her example, applying the lessons of professionalism, respect, and courage in their own work and communities. Over time, the incident became a symbol of empowerment. People recognized the power of calm, confident action, and the importance of standing up for oneself while maintaining respect for others. The woman's example showed that facing challenges with dignity and knowledge could inspire change not only in the immediate situation, but also across a wider community. Her actions became a reference point for discussions about ethics, leadership, and personal responsibility, demonstrating that one person's courage can create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond the original moment. The story also had a lasting emotional impact on those who witnessed it. People recalled the tension, the unexpected moment of revelation, and the woman's calm declaration of authority. Many spoke about how it changed their understanding of courage, respect, and professional conduct. Witnesses remembered how the incident had shifted the energy of the scene, turning what could have been a frightening encounter into a moment of clarity, accountability, and inspiration. As her story continued to circulate, it influenced cultural and social discussions. People used the example to teach lessons about integrity, fairness, and the importance of standing firm in truth. Organizations incorporated the story into workshops, seminars, and training sessions, showing how knowledge and composure could prevent conflicts and foster trust. The woman's actions became a standard example of leadership in action, demonstrating the positive effects of calm professionalism even under pressure. In the years that followed, the story remained a part of the community's collective memory. People continued to reference the incident in discussions about accountability, ethical behavior, and courage. The woman's example inspired individuals across generations to face challenges with confidence and integrity. Her actions were celebrated not only for the immediate outcome, but also for the long-term lessons they provided about respect, responsibility, and personal courage. Ultimately, the incident outside the police station became more than a confrontation. It became a story of hope, empowerment, and lasting impact. The woman's calm and dignified response demonstrated that courage and knowledge can influence events, inspire others, and create meaningful change. Her story reminded everyone that standing firm in truth, maintaining professionalism, and acting with integrity can transform a challenging situation into a moment of learning and inspiration. The ripple effects of her actions continue to be felt. People still share her story as an example of bravery, fairness, and composure. Her influence has extended into education, law enforcement practices, community engagement, and personal development. The woman's courage serves as a guiding example, showing that standing up for what is right, with dignity and knowledge, can leave a lasting legacy that empowers others and strengthens communities.